High above the Earth, a network of multi-billion-dollar CIA spy satellites maintained a constant watch over the Thar Desert. Their sensors were calibrated to detect even the slightest change in the terrain or suspicious military movement. Then, on the afternoon of May 11, 1998, the ground fractured. Without a single warning signature appearing on a satellite feed, 3 nuclear devices detonated simultaneously deep beneath these dunes. The American government and its global intelligence partners were blindsided. The most sophisticated surveillance network ever built had failed to identify any of the preparations leading up to the blast. Pulling off a test of this scale under the nose of the CIA was the culmination of a highly disciplined, multi-year clandestine effort to achieve a specific strategic objective. The motivation for the bomb was rooted in the 1960s. After a major territorial loss to China in 1962 and China's subsequent nuclear test in 1964, India found itself facing a nuclear-armed neighbor with a massive conventional advantage. The threat intensified in 1971. During a war with Pakistan, American and British warships moved into the waters surrounding India, effectively threatening to encircle the nation from the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. Only the immediate intervention of Soviet naval forces deterred the Western fleets, a moment that forced Indian leadership to confront their lack of military self-reliance. Without a domestic nuclear deterrent, Indian leaders realized their national sovereignty would remain dependent on the shifting interests of rival superpowers. Physicist Homi Bhabha had initiated a nuclear program early on, but it suffered a double blow in 1966. Bhabha died in a plane crash, and Prime Minister Shastri died under mysterious circumstances just days earlier, stalling the project for years. It wasn't until 1974 that Prime Minister Indira Gandhi authorized the first underground test, codenamed Smiling Buddha, which was conducted in absolute secrecy. The reaction from the West was immediate. The United States imposed sanctions, and Canada stopped all cooperation on nuclear reactor technology, effectively cutting India off from global support. In response to the test, the Nuclear Suppliers Group was formed, an international cartel designed specifically to block India's access to uranium and specialized equipment. By isolating the country from fuel and technology, the international community believed they had permanently ended India's nuclear aspirations. By the 1990s, the 5 recognized nuclear powers used international treaties like the NPT and CTBT to legally bar other nations from joining the nuclear club, permanently solidifying their own monopoly. Prime Minister Narasimha Rao attempted a secret test in 1995, but the U.S. spotted the activity at Pokhran via satellite before the devices could be armed. President Bill Clinton called the Prime Minister directly, warning that any detonation would trigger crippling economic retaliation. The project was once again shut down. Any future attempt required a level of military deception that could bypass the constant high-resolution gaze of American satellites. In 1998, Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee and scientist APJ Abdul Kalam took office with a mandate to finally cross the nuclear threshold. They bypassed normal channels and tasked the Indian Army's 58th Engineer Regiment with preparing the test site under the guise of standard military exercises. To maintain the ruse, scientists wore army uniforms and used fake military ranks. Dr. Kalam himself operated under the pseudonym Major General Prithviraj. They mapped the orbit schedules of CIA satellites, identifying blind spot windows when optical sensors couldn't see in the dark. Work occurred during these nocturnal windows. Before sunrise, they covered bomb shafts with camouflage netting and artificial vegetation, ensuring the site matched previous satellite imagery. These low-tech, disciplined workarounds neutralized the primary advantages of the multi-billion-dollar Western surveillance apparatus. On May 11 and 13, 1998, the operation reached its goal, successfully detonating 5 indigenous nuclear devices and declaring India a full nuclear power. The international community reacted with fury, issuing fresh sanctions and aggressive diplomatic threats against the government in Delhi. India defended its position by highlighting that it had never signed the NPT and broke no international laws. They argued the weapons were built for self-defense, not for conquest. India's path to the nuclear club was an act of geopolitical defiance, demonstrating that indigenous science and strategic willpower could secure a nation's sovereignty against the world's most powerful empires.